Today is the 11th of December 2018. We're back with Jamie Kealy here in Tullow, just to get an update of what's happening, particularly on the breeding season on the farm here. We started here last February looking at the breeding. So Jamie, maybe first of all just give us an update on the grass scenario.
Yeah, we did a closing cover there, Richie, and closing farm cover today is 790 kilos of grass, and we're hoping to have 1,000 on that by the 1st of February. We've a fairly compact calve, and cows start to calve there the 1st of February, and we hope to have 90% of the herd calved in February. We'll turn those cows out to grass day and night once to calve, so we'll have a high demand.
Yeah, so you need a ton of grass.
Need a ton of grass
on every hectare on the 1st of February.
Yeah.
And many cows do you hope to milk next year, Jamie?
We have 130 cows calving down, and we'd be hoping to end up around 120 maybe if we end up selling a few. But
so the stocking rate on the milking platform
would be roughly 3.2 then next year.
Okay. And just overall the breeding season went quite well on farm. I know 90% calving is a very high rate, but infertility?
Yeah, we had 6% of the cows were not in calf after 12 weeks, and we had 5% of the heifers. I suppose there was 2 heifers out of 44 not in calves, percentage is 5%. So we're quite happy. It was a tough spring on the cows, and then we got hit there with the drought in breeding as well, but look, we're quite happy. And
milk solids produced this year, Jamie, you reckon same as last year?
Yeah, maybe even slightly above last year. So up to the end of October there we had 511 kilos of milk solids produced. And it's quite interesting there, you'll see on the graph there that you can see where the cows dropped right in the middle of the drought. You can see the ups and downs, and then
they actually dropped when the silage went in April as well. The minute
silage went in April, it was a tough spring. The minute silage went in, they dropped, and then the minute we hit the drought you can see it dropping again, and then once we got back on grass after the drought you can see it then straight back up.
And you reckon you'll feed much meal this year?
We'll end up at around 1.2 tonnes this year,
which is above last year.
Last year we were at slightly under 800. I suppose we were lucky in that we didn't get caught fierce. Our overall stocking rate was quite low. I think we were down at 2.2. We took on extra land this year, and we brought in extra silage to get us out of the drought more so than extra meal. So that's where we're lucky that we ended up at 1.2.
Jamie, you've been using selective dry cow treatment for a while?
Yeah, I suppose we've done it 4 years now, Richie, at this stage, and we started off in small numbers. And we started off, I suppose we worked from the cell count reports through the year, and we think the minimum that we should be doing is 4 milk recordings. Maybe we might even up that a bit up to 6. But in the first couple of years we set a target of any cows under 60 of a cell count right throughout the year. They only got teat sealers. We've upped it last year and in 17, and again this year in 18. Any cows under 100 only get teat sealers. But I suppose we're backing that up by milk recording throughout the year, and then I suppose we're taking a bit of a gamble on our last milk recording because it's early November, but instead of that then we're using the paddle test then as well. So every cow is paddle tested just to make sure there's not a high quarter, and that can give you a massive, that's what can run you into trouble. So we're doing 4 milk recordings as a minimum, and then we're paddle testing then at drying off as well. And any cow under 100 is only getting a sealer. But the thing really has to be hygienically clean. You can't believe how clean you have to be. If you're only pushing a sealer up into a cow, the chances are if you're not clean, you're going to push dirt up there, and that's what's going to cause you any issues. But we've been quite lucky with it and successful with it over the last few years, that we've got no issues from them cows the following spring calving down. Definitely within the first 60 days there has been no issues with them cows. So any infection that was coming into any cows after that it was nothing to do with just using teat sealers.
And your cell count this year is under 100, average under 100?
Yeah, our cell count is average under 100 and has been over the last few years. I can't believe, I know it's a cost saving, it's a health issue for the cows, but look, it's some saving on labour even the following year that you realise that there's no issue with them cows going to the tank, and you can identify them cows, so it's one less worry that you have in the spring in the following